The crystal champagne glass shattered against the reception hall's marble floor, punctuating my mother's drunken declaration. "You'll never be successful like your sister, Katherine. Just look at this. Modest wedding. Even your dress is off the rack." 300 guests fell silent. My new husband, Michael, squeezed my hand under the table. My sister Emily smirked from her seat at the family table, her own custom-designed wedding ring catching the light, a not-so-subtle reminder of her superior marriage to a hedge fund manager. "At least Grace Technologies is still in the family," Mom continued, swaying slightly. "Thank God Emily had the sense to take over the company when your father passed. You couldn't handle real business if your life depended on it." I maintained my composure, years of practice keeping my expression neutral. They had no idea that while Emily was playing CEO at our father's company, I'd been quietly building my own empire under a different name. Sterling Innovations, the fastest-growing tech company in the country, was about to unveil its new CEO. "Mother," Emily said with fake concern, "maybe you should sit down. Though you're not wrong about Katherine's limitations. Remember when she tried to pitch that ridiculous AI development project to Dad?" I did remember. 5 years ago, fresh from MIT with dual degrees in computer science and business, I'd presented my father with a revolutionary artificial intelligence platform. He dismissed it immediately, handing the company to Emily instead, my sister with her marketing degree and flair for self-promotion. "Such a disappointment," Mom slurred, accepting another champagne flute from a horrified waiter. "Your father would be so embarrassed by this wedding. No ice sculpture, no designer names, not even proper champagne." Michael started to stand, but I held him back. "Not yet," I whispered. "The timing isn't right." He understood. We'd met 3 years ago when his venture capital firm had provided series of funding for Sterling Innovations. He knew exactly what was coming. My maid of honor, Sarah, also my chief operating officer, approached the table. "Ms. Roberts? There's a call from the office. It's urgent." Emily frowned, fishing her phone from her designer clutch. "What now?" I left specific instructions not to be disturbed during my sister's little celebration. I watched her face as she took the call, enjoying the way her perfect makeup cracked as panic set in. Grace Technologies stock had been falling for months, their outdated systems and poor management finally catching up with them. Emily had been desperately seeking investors, unaware that Sterling Innovations had been systematically buying shares through shell companies. "Excuse me," Emily stuttered, her face pale. "There's a situation at the office. Mother, we need to go." "Now," Mom protested. "I haven't finished telling everyone about Katherine's failures." "Now, Mother," Emily insisted, practically dragging her away from the table. Sarah sat down in their vacated seats, a wicked smile playing on her lips. "The hostile takeover bid just went public. Grace Technologies board is meeting in emergency session." I checked my watch, custom-made but deliberately understated. "Right on schedule. How long do you think it'll take them to figure out who's behind Sterling Innovations?" Given Emily's business acumen? Michael snorted. "They'll need it spelled out for them." The rest of the reception passed in a blur of well wishes and dancing. Our guests, mostly friends and Michael's family, had no idea that while they celebrated, a corporate coup was unfolding across town. Later that night in our hotel suite, my phone exploded with notifications. Grace Technologies stock had plummeted after hours. Emergency board meetings had been called. Emily had given 3 increasingly panicked press statements. "Should we postpone the honeymoon?" Michael asked, loosening his tie. I smiled, scrolling through the chaos. "No need. Everything's proceeding exactly as planned. By the time we return from Bali, Grace Technologies will be ripe for picking." "You're brilliant, you know that?" He wrapped his arms around me. "That AI platform your father rejected? It's worth billions now. And soon it'll be implemented in the very company that dismissed it." I turned to face him. "How does it feel being married to such a disappointment?" He laughed, but his eyes were serious. "You're going to destroy them, aren't you?" "Not destroy," I corrected, slipping off my modest wedding dress. "Just reorganize the power structure a bit. Besides, Mom always said I should be more involved in the family business." My phone buzzed again, Emily calling for the 5th time. I let it go to voicemail, imagining her panic as she realized her perfect corporate world was crumbling. Miss Sterling. Sarah's text came through. The board wants to meet with Sterling Innovations CEO first thing Monday morning. Perfect, I replied. Tell them the CEO is currently on her honeymoon but can meet in 2 weeks. Let them sweat a little. As I prepared for bed, I caught my reflection in the mirror. The disappointing daughter, the one who'd never be as successful as her sister, was about to become one of the most powerful women in tech. And my family had no idea. Sweet dreams, Emily, I murmured, turning off my phone. Enjoy being CEO while you can. 2 weeks in Bali passed like a dream, but I kept one eye on Grace Technologies' increasingly desperate situation. Emily had given 7 press conferences, each more frantic than the last. Their stock had dropped 40% since my wedding day, and rumors of bankruptcy swirled through the financial media. Mom had given an infamous interview to CNBC, drunkenly declaring that Grace Technologies will never surrender to some upstart tech company. The clip had gone viral, with Sterling Innovations shareholders particularly enjoying the irony. The morning of the board meeting, I stood in my private office at Sterling Innovations headquarters 50 stories above Manhattan, with views that made Grace Technologies' offices look like a corner store. My modest wedding dress had been replaced by a perfectly tailored Armani suit, though I kept my jewelry minimal. No need to flaunt success. True power speaks for itself. They're here, Sarah announced, entering with a tablet displaying the security feed. Emily looks like she hasn't slept in days. Your mother. Well, she's being her usual charming self. I watched them enter the building, Emily in last season's Chanel, Mom clutching her Hermes bag like a shield. The Grace Technologies board followed, looking decidedly nervous. Have them wait in the main conference room, I instructed. Let them take in the view of their offices below. And Sarah? Make sure the AI demonstration is ready. Already done. Though I doubt Emily will understand half of it. She never did, I smiled. That's why we're here and they're down there. 20 minutes later, just long enough to make them sweat, I stood outside the conference room doors. Through the frosted glass, I could hear Mom's shrill voice. Who does this Sterling person think they are, making us wait? That's exactly what Dad said about my AI proposal, I murmured to Sarah. Ready to make history? She grinned and opened the doors. The room fell silent as I walked in. Emily's perfectly maintained facade cracked. Mom's champagne glass, who drinks champagne at 9 a.m., slipped from her fingers, creating a sense of déjà vu from my wedding. Katherine, Emily choked out. What are you doing here? This is a private meeting with Sterling Innovations CEO. I know, I said calmly, taking my seat at the head of the table. That's why I'm here. But... Mom's eyes darted between me and the Sterling Innovations logo on the wall. You can't be. Katherine Sterling, I introduced myself to the board members. Founder and CEO of Sterling Innovations. Though you might remember me as Katherine Roberts, the disappointment who would never understand real business. Emily shot to her feet. This is impossible. You have that little consulting job. That little consulting job was a cover, I explained, nodding to Sarah to start the presentation. While you were running our father's company into the ground, I was building this. The room's screens lit up with Sterling Innovations' portfolio, the AI platform Dad had rejected, now worth billions, the global client list, the technological innovations that had revolutionized multiple industries. Our market cap passed $50 billion last quarter, I continued conversationally, which, coincidentally, is about 50 times what Grace Technologies is currently worth. Speaking of which, I slid folders across the table. Let's discuss the terms of acquisition. Acquisition. Mom sputtered. You can't, we won't. You don't have a choice, I cut her off. Sterling Innovations already owns 45% of Grace Technologies through various shell companies. Your stock has dropped another 5% since markets opened this morning. The board has a fiduciary duty to consider our offer. The board members were already flipping through the documents, their expressions shifting from shock to resignation to relief. This is a joke, Emily insisted, but her voice trembled. Some elaborate revenge scheme. No, sister dear. This is business. I pulled up Grace Technologies' financial records. Would you like to explain these discrepancies to the board? The mismanaged accounts? The failed product launches? The millions wasted on your vanity projects. Emily sank back into her chair, her face ashen. The terms are simple, I continued. Sterling Innovations will absorb Grace Technologies completely. All current board members will be offered generous retirement packages. Except you, Emily. You're fired. You can't fire me, she shrieked. I'm CEO. Actually, one of the board members cleared his throat. Given these numbers, and the offer, we have to consider what's best for the shareholders. Mom finally found her voice. Your father would never allow this. Dad's not here, I said coldly. Because he was too proud to see the future when it was right in front of him. Just like you were too proud to see me as anything but a disappointment. The next hour was a systematic dismantling of everything my family had built, or rather what they had destroyed. I walked the board through Grace Technologies' failures, Sterling Innovations' successes, and the exact details of how their precious family company would be absorbed into my empire. As you can see, I concluded, pulling up the final projections, implementing our AI platform across Grace Technologies' existing infrastructure will increase efficiency by 300%. Of course, that assumes competent management. Emily flinched. Her perfect manicure was ruined from nervously picking at her cuticles throughout my presentation. The vote will be held immediately, I announced. Though given that Sterling Innovations controls 45% of shares, and I've already secured support from major stakeholders holding another 20%, it's really just a formality. Wait, Mom stood up, swaying slightly. You can't just erase our family's legacy. Your father built this company from nothing. And you and Emily destroyed it in less than 5 years, I countered. Would you like to see the exact numbers? The client lists you've lost? The contracts Emily fumbled? The technological advances you ignored? Sarah distributed more folders, detailed reports of every mistake, every misstep, every arrogant decision that had led to this moment. Page 3 is particularly interesting, I noted. The day Emily rejected a partnership with Microsoft because, quote, tech companies are beneath us. Microsoft then became one of Sterling Innovations' biggest clients. The board members were now openly glaring at Emily, who seemed to be shrinking in her chair. Page 7 shows the financial impact of Mom's decision to fire our entire R&D department because, and I quote again, innovation is overrated. I smiled coldly. Most of those engineers now work for me. You planned this, Emily accused, finally finding her voice. All of it. Even your wedding. Pie wedding. I laughed. You mean where Mom announced to 300 guests that I'd never be successful? That I was a disappointment? That my off-the-rack dress and modest celebration were embarrassing? Mom at least had the grace to look ashamed. For the record, I continued, that off-the-rack dress was a custom Vera Wang. The modest celebration cost more than your entire wedding, Emily. I just didn't feel the need to flaunt it. Unlike some people, I prefer to let my success speak for itself. Sarah appeared with another urgent update. Grace Technologies stock has dropped another 10% in the last hour. Someone leaked details of the emergency board meeting. That someone being me, I confirmed. Nothing like a little market pressure to focus the mind. Shall we proceed with the vote? The next few minutes were a formality. The board voted unanimously to accept Sterling Innovations' acquisition offer. Emily sat in stunned silence as her position as CEO was terminated, effective immediately. Now, I stood, smoothing my suit. Let's discuss the transition. Emily, security will escort you to your office. You have 1 hour to collect your personal belongings. 1 hour, she protested. But I have years of documents, files, company property. I smiled. Those belong to Sterling Innovations now. Along with that corner office you were so proud of. Mom stepped forward, trying one last time. Katherine, please. We're family. Family. I turned to her. Was I family when you mocked me at my wedding? When you dismissed my dreams? When you told everyone who would listen that I was a failure? I was wrong, she whispered. Yes, you were. About everything. I pressed a button and security entered the room. Please escort Ms. Roberts and Mrs. Roberts out. Their building access has been revoked. As they were led away, I caught Emily's final desperate glance. What am I supposed to do now? I hear there's an opening for a junior analyst at Sterling Innovations. I called after her. Though you'd have to actually understand technology to qualify. Once they were gone, the board members quickly signed the final papers and filed out, leaving me alone with Sarah. That, she said, was the most elegant corporate takedown I've ever witnessed. Elegant? I mused, watching through the windows as my mother and sister were escorted from the building. I was thinking more poetic justice. My phone buzzed, Michael checking in from his office downstairs. How did it go? Exactly as planned, I texted back. Dinner tonight to celebrate? Already made reservations at Le Cirque, he replied. Emily's favorite restaurant, if I recall. I smiled. Perfect. I hear they just lost their regular table. Over the next few weeks, the business world buzzed with the story. Headlines ranged from tech giant absorbs family business to sister act. Corporate takeover gets personal. My favorite was wedding drama leads to boardroom coup. Emily tried to give interviews, but her obvious bitterness and lack of technical knowledge only reinforced my position. Mom checked into a wellness retreat in Switzerland, though everyone knew it was really a rehab facility. 1 month after the acquisition, I sat in my new office, formerly my father's then Emily's. The view hadn't changed, but everything else had. Grace Technologies' outdated systems had been replaced with Sterling Innovations' AI platform. The old guard had been replaced with young, innovative minds. Even the name was gone, absorbed into the Sterling brand. Sarah brought in an interesting delivery, a package from my mother's retreat. Inside was my father's old nameplate, the one that had sat on this desk during his reign. With it was a note. Katherine, I was wrong. We all were. Your father would have been proud, not of what you acquired, but of what you built. The daughter we called a disappointment has become more successful than we could have imagined. I'm sorry. It's just Mom. I placed the nameplate in my desk drawer. The past was the past. The future, my future, was what mattered now. Sarah, I called out. Schedule a press conference. It's time to announce Sterling Innovations' next evolution. The quantum computing division? She asked. Yes. Let's show them what a disappointment can really do. That evening as I left the office, I passed the old Grace Technologies logo being removed from the building. In its place, the Sterling Innovations emblem glowed against the darkening sky, a phoenix rising just like I had. My phone buzzed one last time. Emily, I understand now. What you built. What I destroyed. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some lessons don't need acknowledgement. Some victories speak for themselves. Besides, I had a company to run.